What is going on, people, and welcome back to Instagram Design 101 part 2. I know it's taken so long for me to record the second part of this series. I'm hoping that part 3 and part 4 don't take as long, but we'll see. You know, I've got to manage so many stuff. I'm struggling to kind of come up with a plan in terms of my YouTube content. If you've got any tips on how I can make it easier for me in terms of recording videos, then by all means leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what I could do and how I could potentially improve my process, because you know, I need to learn how to basically improve it, going off some of my recent activity. What we're going to be covering today, as I mentioned in my last video, is Instagram carousels, how you can basically create a seamless carousel that'll just continue on one slide after the next, so it kind of looks like one whole image instead of basically scrolling through a carousel and then you're taken out of it by the fact that something changes in terms of the background elements or stuff doesn't quite carry over in a seamless way. But I'll show you exactly what I mean very soon. What I wanted to make you all aware of is that I'm going to be using some mock-ups, because this is all for Vandal Fitness. As I mentioned in the first video, all of the designs that I create as part of this series are going to be for Vandal Fitness. So I'm going to be using some mock-ups to represent some of the designs that I've created. And yeah, it's not necessary for you to do exactly the same thing, but this video should give you a good idea of what you should be doing in Photoshop in order to create these seamless carousels. The height is going to be 1080 always, so this never changes. The thing that does change though is your width. So the first thing you're going to want to do is come to a decision as to how many slides you want to create through the carousel. So for me, for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to do something simple, a 4-slide carousel. I believe you can have up to 10 slides on Instagram. So if you want to go nuts with this, obviously you can create a really big image to start off with. But for me, like I say, I'm just going to keep it simple, do a 4-slide one. So I'm going to put this first as 1080, and then I'm going to use an asterisk and put 4. And what that will do is it will simply just basically use multiplication. It will do 1080 times 4 for you. So if I press tab now, it already does that calculation for me and the canvas will already be set up. So let's press create. And then we're going to do Control and T to bring up the transformation window, and then drag some guides in. So one at the top, one on the left hand side, bottom, and then the right. And if you guides aren't showing, again, you can just use Control and then the colon on your keyboard, and then that's it. So that's to start off with. I'm probably, no matter of fact, I don't need one in the middle. I'm going to get the rectangular tool. Bloody hell, I can't talk today. Just click anywhere in the canvas, and we're going to set a size of 1080 by 1080, because that is the size of each individual post. Then we're going to drag this onto the left hand side. So that's the first post. We're going to bring up the transformation window again, drag the edge of that canvas, and then we're going to put some guides in the center as well. And I'm going to change the color of this, and you'll see why in a minute. When there's loads of guides going on, it does get a bit confusing. So if you have it all color coded, then you'll know, okay, this is the first post, this is the second, and so on. I'm just going to duplicate this by pressing Control and J, Control and T, dragging it out again. Then we're going to create some more guides, one in the middle and then one on the right hand side. Repeat the process, Control and J, and then I'll change the colors afterwards. But this basically just maps out where you can place stuff when it comes to all the individual posts. So getting up to the last one now, drag that in, and it's snapped for me. What a beauty. Put that in the center, and then again, like I mentioned earlier, it's about 30 seconds ago, I'm just going to change the colors a bit. So yeah, those are our individual posts. So we know, okay, this section here is going to be covering the first slide, this is the second slide, third slide, and fourth slide. And yeah, it just creates an area that we can work from essentially. So we know, okay, if I have stuff that's coming in between these two sections, when people scroll, they'll see a portion of it on this slide, and then they'll see a portion of it on the second post as well. So you'll understand a lot better when I actually go in and I start using these mock-ups. But like I say, the first part of this video, we're just going to be working with some mock-ups, creating some different posts, using some t-shirt mock-ups, some sweater mock-ups, and maybe a hoodie or something like that. We'll see what we can find. So all the mock-ups are ready. Let's start with this one, and I'm just going to merge all the layers before bringing it in. I might convert it to a smart object as well. Drag this in. So we've got the first one ready, as you can see, looking pretty cool. So we've got this in. Oh, well, to be fair, I kind of like how it's quite large. that's quite nice like that. So I don't think I'm going to do much in terms of changing the sizing of it because I don't want it to be too small. We drag the next one in. Boom. This one might need to be decreased in size a little bit because I do want a level of consistency. Probably don't want them overlapping, but that don't look too bad. Have it like that. I might add some text in there or something like that in the background, maybe a nice texture afterwards. But this gives you a good idea of what you could be doing with yours. So literally, I'm just dragging in different elements, but this will serve as quite a nice seamless effect for people. So we've got this one in there as well. If I just have a look where the logo lines up on the other one. Perfect. Kind of like having a little bit of consistency with the spacing as well. And then if we jump into the last one, matter of fact, when I jump into the last one, I might like change how things are positioned. This is just kind of rough for the time being, obviously. Yeah, I think that's perfect. So let's play around with the positioning because I haven't came to a decision on what I want to do with that yet. So let's drag him a little bit out here. And then if we get the next one, I don't know if I want them overlapping or not. If I do want them overlapping, do I want some shadow in there? Possibly. Let's have a look, see how that looks. Putting a subtle shadow in there. Well, that's not too subtle, to be fair. We could decrease that a little bit. Maybe some nice shadowing might be good. Even if they aren't overlapping, it might be nice to have some shadow in there. Just because it's adding a little bit of texture to the actual background itself. So if I can copy that and place it on the other ones as well, that might lift them a little bit. Let's drag him out a little bit because what I want to do is maybe make it so that these overlap just a tad, so they go into the next one. Just because there's a lot of empty space on, well, matter of fact, there isn't any empty space on the last one. I don't mind that. That one's coming into this slide. This slide is kind of on its own. So is this one, and this one's coming into that one as well. Let's see if we can get them all in the center though, because I'm a bit OCD when it comes to stuff like this. If there's a bit of empty space on either end, that'll drive me nuts. But I think that looks okay. So you've got a showcase of everything that's going on. What might be nice is having the logos in the background somewhere. Let's see how that would look. So let's drag this gold one out. I might change the color. I probably am. So let's say we have this one quite large, covering quite a large area, and then we have it in the back. And we can change the color of that to something like black, or as a matter of fact, the white looks quite nice. So we've got the white going across those two slides. That looks pretty sick, to be fair. I'm quite happy with that. Maybe drag it out a little bit more like that. I don't know why I didn't think about doing this originally, to be fair, because it actually looks quite nice. Then we can do the same with this logo. Just make it pure white. Color of it now, you'll be able to see this little bit come across here. There we go. But as you can see, that actually doesn't look too bad. I'm kind of liking how that looks. But if I get rid of the guides, what you're seeing now is a huge image, obviously, but all of these will be individual posts. So you'll post these in order. So it'll be the one on the far left going first, then the next one, the next one, the next one, and it'll make up a 4-post carousel. So what I meant by it being seamless is the fact that you've got the logo in the back, which is covering basically 2 posts, and then you've got the other logo, which is covering 2 posts as well. And then in some of these, like for example, this guy here stood with his back facing me. He's got his arm covering partial amounts of the slide before. So it just creates kind of like a seamless effect. And you'll know when you're creating this sort of thing, when you actually go to post it and you scroll through it, you'll realize, you know, it does look a lot more seamless than, let's say for example, I had all of these individual and they weren't using the same colors. So like the first one was gold, the second one was black, the third one was white. It just kind of takes away the seamless effect, and it kind of takes you away from the post, rather than people will see it exactly how you're seeing it now. So they'll be able to scroll through it, and it will be really seamless. So let's get a nice texture in here. What we got textures. I do like cement textures, and I like dark stone textures as well, because they add quite a lot of like grain in there. We have got some rough grain textures as well, but I don't really like those too much. I just want something to add like a bit of background noise. So what have we got for dark stone? Literally just brick walls, to be fair. I don't quite like those for this purpose. Cement textures, these might be a bit better because it adds that gritty effect, which I quite like. This might work quite well, to be fair, so let's add this in. So we'll change this to white first, then I'm going to rasterize it and see what effects we've got going on. So if we've got overlay, matter of fact, let's see if it was black again. We can divide it, maybe. It's okay, it's not the effect that I'm trying to go for though. What if we try and change the fill option a little bit? It's okay, it's not great, but it works. Make it stand out a little bit more, see what we've got to work with. Might make it a little bit smaller to actually fit the canvas, because one of my main issues with textures like this is when they are massive, it kind of takes away from the effect, because you can kind of see all the details, and I don't want you to be able to see them. If I had a grain on top of this as well, that might look a little bit better. So let's get a filter noise, add some noise, multiply, and then bring that down to like 5, 6, and 8. So yeah, that's looking a lot more grittier. Let's change that to 20, and we can bring that down a little bit, bring that down to 5. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some lighting in here as well. So I'm going to use the brush, and you can bring up the brush tool just by pressing B on your keyboard. And then I created a new layer, because if you don't create a new layer, then basically it's just going to be an absolute ball ache to add any effects to these. So switch this around, because I want white to start off with. So I want some lighting. Oh, we don't want that. Change the hardness to 0 if you want to create like a lighting effect. Bring that down to there. I'll have a light here, maybe one here coming between these two, and then if I have a little one in this corner, and then I'm going to create a new layer, drag that underneath, because I'm going to add some darkness in here as well, and it will make it look as if the gold is like a gradient, which I quite like. Obviously I could just add a gradient in here, but I quite like using the brush to just manually do these sorts of things. And then what I'm going to do is, because in certain places, especially with the black, it does look a bit blocky, I'm just going to add a Gaussian blur, and I'm going to put that at, let's play around with this, 30, what's that like? Let's see, 70, it's a bit better. The white can probably stay the same, but if I add an overlay or a soft light, let's see how that's looking. Same with this. Not looking too bad. See what it would look like without him. Actually, matter of fact, let me drag that below the grain. That'll probably look a little bit better. And then put them in a folder, and then let's see how they would look before and after. See, it just lifts it a little bit. These just little techniques that you learn over time, just, you know, to add a little bit more flair to your compositions. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. Sometimes you can go a little bit too overboard. I'm guilty for doing that, but it's nice to try these things out just to see if they actually work or not. But I think for the most part, I'm happy with how that's looking. I don't want to drag this out too much, but this is your seamless design done. So basically, as a general gist, you just want to create a nice seamless background, not something which is blocky, because that's going to take away from the effect, which is why I've just gone for a solid color throughout. And then add some background elements in there. You know, if you're using mock-ups, add some textures in there, just something which is going to lift the composition. So I'm going to merge everything together, and this is where we start splitting everything up into the individual posts. So What I'd recommend doing is just making a group of everything. So you can highlight all the files like I've done. So start from the top, hold shift, click to the bottom, control and G, and that'll group everything, and then press control and J to make a copy. I'm going to hide that top layer, and we're just going to merge everything together on the bottom layer. So right click, merge group, and then what we can do is we can use the rectangular marquee tool, get this, and then just make sure that it spans across the first post, and you'll know that it does if you pay attention to the width and the height figures that gets shown on screen. So the width is 1080, height is 1080, and that's an indication that that's your first post. So if you copy that and then create a new canvas, you'll see that these have already been entered for you. So 1080 by 1080, press create, control and V, that's your first post. And then all I do is rename the actual file, or the layer, sorry, and put post 1, enter, so I know that's the first one that needs to be saved. Then if we get the second one, boom, drag that out, 1080 by 1080, get rid of this texture, control and V, you've got post 2, and then we go for the third one, and this is all you want to do. To save everything as individual posts, just do exactly what I'm doing, post 3, and then last one is post 4. But it's crucial to make sure that they're all 1080 by 1080. So if they're not, then the likelihood is you probably messed up somewhere with your grids. I don't know what that flash was outside. I thought a firework was set off or some shit, but a bit distracting. So yeah, got all the posts ready. Then all you want to do is hide all of them apart from post 1. Control Alt Shift and S to save it, and then you just want to save them individually. Either a PNG, well, matter of fact, you don't want to save anything that's not transparent as a PNG. I know in terms of compression, for whatever reason, some websites, it makes it so a PNG looks better than a JPEG, but for the most part, you want to save everything as a JPEG, maximum quality, 100 quality, and maximum on the compression quality as well. Click save it to wherever you want, and then do the same for post 2, post 3, and post 4. Now, what I'd recommend you do is actually make sure that the file names are post 1, post 2, post 3, and post 4 as well, because when it comes to you actually posting these, you're going to need to know what order to post them in, essentially. Otherwise, everything that we've just done will kind of go to the wayside, because if you post them out of order, that seamless effect that we've created here today will not work. But yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. I'm sorry that I wasn't talking much or talking much sense when I was actually doing the design side of things. I was kind of getting stuck in and getting carried away with it, so hopefully it makes sense, you just being able to see my process and seeing what I'm trying to do or trying to create. But if you've got any questions, let me know in the comments section below. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. So thank you all for watching, and yeah, drop a comment if you found this useful. Drop a comment if you have any questions for me, and I'll get to you guys in a bit. So thank you for watching, take care, and I hope to see you in part 3.